A good evening to you all, and thank you very much for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. To all Rwandans across the country and around the world, may we continue to take heart in this time of remembrance as we continue to commemorate the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Now here's a sneak peek of our edition tonight. Some survivors who escaped from Nyanza in Kicukiro district, Kigali city, revealed what they describe as Belgium's direct role in the genocide against the Tutsi. On Thursday afternoon in Rulindo, a farewell ceremony was held for the late Alain Bernard Mukurarinda, the former deputy spokesperson of the government, who passed away on the 4th of April 2025. On the international scale, Amnesty International has reported that Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces have used sexual slavery and gang rape of women and girls as part of their war strategy. Thank you once again for tuning in to the English News edition tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali, and I bringing you tonight's edition is Martina Abera. Some survivors who escaped from Nyanza in Kicukiro district, Kigali city, revealed what they describe as Belgium's direct role in the genocide against the Tutsi. We have more coming from Adam Squizera.
What is now IPRC Kigali was formerly Eto, Kicukiro Vocational and Technical School, where Maniraho Ernest sought refuge during the genocide against Tutsi. He counts the 15-minute walk from his family's home in Kagarama to St. Joseph's Parish, and eventually to the school on March 8th, where he hoped to find protection from UNAMIR troops stationed there.
Abandi bari babanje kuza mbere, twebwe twaje mo nyuma duturutse kuri paruwasi.
Others arrived earlier, but we came after leaving the parish. It was around noon when we were allowed to enter. The gates were positioned here, and we found many refugees in classrooms. The enemy forces stayed on this side, while we remained in the classrooms over there.
Ariko zo zabagamo hano, twebwe tubamo hariya.
April 11th remains etched in Maniraho's memory, a day that reminds him of how desperate Tutsis were abandoned, left to Interahamwe, while even dogs belonging to the Belgian contingent of UNAMIR were given protection than people.
Wabonaga ari ibintu bidasanzwe, intwari zirimo gupakira ibintu byabo, bari bafite imbwa, bafite n'abagore.
Was quite mysterious. UNAMIR was packing their things, including their dogs and wives. Their cars were parked over there. We told them that if they left, the Interahamwe would come to kill us, but they didn't want to listen.
Tukajya tubabwira ko Interahamwe zije kutwica, ariko ntibigeze babyumva.
In addition to its role in fueling discrimination and division in Rwanda, Belgium's involvement in the genocide against Tutsi was also highlighted by Lieutenant General Romeo Dallaire, the former commander of UNAMIR.
Then the Belgians decided that they were going to leave. It wasn't the UN telling the reduce, they said we're going. So they were pulling out. And because they were such a significant contingent, well, that influenced all the other contingents.
Those who were abandoned by UNAMIR were later taken to Nyanza, where they were brutally killed.
Ikimara kugenda rero, urumva twahise dukwira imishwaro.
After they left, the Interahamwe militia immediately came through that gate. We marched to Nyanza, and they began asking us for IDs. Since we were from the neighborhood, they knew us. Then after separating the Tutsi from the Hutu, they threw a grenade. However, survivors remind Belgium that despite being abandoned, they survived and have since rebuilt their lives with resilience and dignity.
Ngira ngo rero mpe ubutumwa ababirigi badutaye mu menyo y'urupfu.
I want to send a message to Belgians who left us to die. Whoever finds them first, tell them that Hodari Marie-Rose is still alive. I'm no longer 53 years old. I am celebrating 31 years of resurrection. I now have 2 children, and the wounds have healed and protected. Whoever finds them first, please pass my message to Belgians.
Mutaracyariho ibikomere byaravuwe yarabungabunzwe ubabona mbere ni ukuri ampera ubutumwa ababirigi.
The Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement, Dr. Jean Damascene Bizimana, points out that Belgium's involvement in Rwanda's suffering spans more than 100 years, culminating its role in the genocide against Tutsi.
Nta gihugu na kimwe ku isi kimaze imyaka 109.
No any other country has destroyed another like Belgium did to Rwanda. In 109 years since the colonization, Belgium is the only European country that denial and genocide ideology are spread without prosecuting those responsible. Yet no one would dare deny the Jewish genocide. Even though all genocides are legally the same, therefore, crimes of denial should be prosecuted equally. Reports that spread lies about Rwanda are often prepared by so-called Belgian experts who claim to know Rwanda well, yet they played a role in destroying Rwanda's history. They were involved in drafting the 1962 and 1978 constitutions and the ethnic laws that were used in Rwanda. It's the same Belgium that continues to urge the international community to impose sanctions on Rwanda, a move President Paul Kagame has dismissed, stating that such actions will not stop Rwanda from standing on its own and moving forward independently.
So these people who are there to the UN, they are there to these Western capitals, they are everywhere, they are just saying, Rwanda, this small country, this Rwanda. I mean, you see, when you are talking about Rwanda and ganging up together against Rwanda, you think it's some country that is, you know. Then when I remember the facts about it, I just imagine the world has gone amok. But in the midst of all that, we have to live. We have to live our lives, we have to fight for that, we have to live the way we want. And I tell anybody to his face to go to hell. If anyone comes around and thinks they can, you know, they come and say, hey, I want to sanction you. To what? Go to hell.
The 31st commemoration of the genocide against Tutsi comes just days after Rwanda's severe diplomatic ties with Belgium, setting Belgium's focus on scapegoating Rwanda for security issues in the Eastern DRC, rather than imposing a forced-to-fund solution, as Belgium encountered as a key player in this issue. Belgium is also currently hosting individuals who continue to spread denial and genocide ideology. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
On Thursday afternoon in Rulindo, a farewell ceremony was held for the late Alain Bernard Mukurarinda, the former deputy spokesperson of the government who passed away on the 4th of April 2025. The ceremony was attended by various individuals, including government officials, family, friends, and others. Alain Mukurarinda died at the age of 55. He held several positions throughout his career. He served as the deputy government spokesperson of Rwanda since December 2021. In earlier years, he held various responsibilities, including working as a prosecutor and as the spokesperson of the National Public Prosecution Authority until 2015, when he left public service indefinitely. He was the spokesperson of the prosecution for 5 years, and during that time handled many high-profile cases, including the prominent case of Victoire Ingabire, where he was one of the lead prosecutors, which is something for which he is widely remembered. Alain Mukurarinda was also a writer and a musician whose songs touched the hearts of many, from love songs, Christmas and New Year melodies, to songs dedicated to various football teams in Rwanda. Sina Gerard, who spoke on behalf of the family, said that Alain Mukurarinda lived a life full of love for people and his country, while also being known for his compassion and support for the less fortunate. Officials in Nyarugenge district have reported that 4 individuals are under investigation for genocide ideology-related crimes during the first 3 days of the 31st commemoration week of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Genocide survivors have highlighted that the area formerly known as Camp Kigali holds significant historical weight, as it was once a military training ground used by Interahamwe militia. During this year's commemoration events, it was emphasized that even 31 years after the genocide ideology still persists. Reverend Pastor Ndaize Aize, the head of the Adeped Church, pledged that they will continue offering teachings aimed at helping Rwandans reject and prevent genocide ideology. As part of remembrance activities across Kigali City, 12 bodies of Tutsi genocide victims were laid to rest in dignity in Gahanga sector. The National Bank of Rwanda has today honored the memories of its former employees who were murdered during the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. Current employees of the bank and its leadership joined families of the 22 victims of the genocide against the Tutsi to honor their memories and remember them for the 31st time. William Evans Mutawazi with more.
As part of the broader 31st commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi, the leadership and current employees of the National Bank of Rwanda joined family members of 22 former employees of this bank who were murdered during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi to pay tribute to them, remember and honor their memories. Uwimana Marie, on behalf of the families of the former employees of the National Bank who were victims of the genocide against the Tutsi, applauded the leadership of the bank for continued support to the survivors as she reflected on her journey of surviving the genocide against the Tutsi, which robbed her of her husband and children.
Turabashimira igikorwa cyiza cyo kuduhuza, kuduhumuriza.
We thank you for looking out for the families of the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi who formerly worked with the National Bank. Thank you for comforting us and restoring our hope. And above all, thank you for honoring the memories of our beloved annually. President of Ibuka, Dr. Philbert Gakwenzire, in his remarks, encouraged institutions to protect testimonies of survivors as a way of honoring their courage.
Hashize igihe kinini cyane inzego za leta zitandukanye, inzego z'ubuyobozi, ibigo bya leta.
For quite some time now, several government agencies and different institutions have participated in Kwibuka. For each commemoration event, leaders give speeches and survivors share their testimonies. This is a good time to ask that all these speeches and testimonies be kept well. The courage by survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi to share their experiences and testimonies should not go to waste just like that. The governor of the National Bank of Rwanda, Honorable Soraya Hakuziyaremye, called on the current employees of the National Bank to remain patriotic as they work towards transforming the National Bank into a model bank world over.
Nk'abakozi ba Beneri turasabwa gukora tukagira banki nkuru y'icyitegererezo ku isi yose.
As employees of the National Bank, we are mandated to work and transform our bank into a model national bank world over and to make our contribution in building a strong economy for our nation. As a team, may we be inspired to build our nation, be patriotic, and to offer all our strength in national building. Particularly for the young people working here today, you must protect our history. continue with the patriotic heritage we get from the RPA that was able to stop the genocide against the Tutsi and restore our country. The governor of the National Bank also criticized the international community for watching the genocide unfold without intervening and those who promote the genocide ideology. William Evans, RwandaTV News.
Employees of the Ombudsperson Office gathered for an event to commemorate for the 31st time the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, emphasizing that the foundation for the future is strong due to the Rwandan government prioritizing unity, reconciliation, and the development of all Rwandans. Martha Mukakarangwa, who lived in Kimihurura during the genocide, where the Ombudsperson Office is now located, shared her testimony, expressing gratitude to those who supported her after her husband and siblings were killed during the genocide. Professor Ismail Buchanan, a university lecturer, gave a lecture on the history of the genocide against the Tutsi, offering lessons for both Rwandans and foreigners. He explained how the unity of Rwandans was shattered and how Rwanda built itself after the genocide. He urged people to fight against the ongoing denial of the genocide in the region. The chief ombudsperson, Madeleine Nidere, mentioned that with the genocide denial continuing on social media, it requires the involvement of everyone to combat it. Though Ombudsperson Office did not exist before the genocide, its employees have affirmed that they will continue to safeguard the unity Rwandans have achieved in the 31 years since the genocide against the Tutsi was stopped. Employees of the One Acre Fund, Rwanda organization, emphasize that Rwandans must not give room to foreigners who distort the history of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. They raised this point on Thursday during the 31st commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi, which included a visit to the Ntarama Genocide Memorial Site. Enoa Gladys has more.
One Acre Fund organized this event for the 31st commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi, taking its staff to visit the Ntarama Genocide Memorial. During the visit, the staff learned about the atrocities committed specifically against children who had sought refuge with their parents in the Ntarama church, which later became a memorial after they were brutally killed, some beaten against the church walls. These employees, who work closely with foreigners, stated that they returned with a mission to educate others the history of the genocide and to actively fight against genocide ideology.
We carry a huge responsibility as Rwandans to make sure that our history is well understood, not only by Rwandans, but also the international community. We see in everyday life, through the interactions that we engage in with our colleagues from other countries, that some of them have incomplete information. We need them to understand how the genocide against the Tutsi was planned, how the ideology was implanted in people, and what we are doing to ensure that not only that ideology is eradicated from the Rwandan society, but also how we are building a united country that doesn't not tolerate that ideology, but also works together to educate the younger ones to ensure that we can preserve that unity and build a stronger country. It is a huge opportunity for the international community to learn from our history so that they can understand what the vision of the country is and that they can intentionally contribute to that vision. Rather than participating in hate speech, we want them to engage in constructive speech.
We have a duty to educate everyone, starting with internationals who work with us. We will make sure that we convey this message to them. For us, especially myself, who was born after the genocide, to make sure that we run from this, we grow up and fight any ideology of genocide in all of us.
The Chief Executive Officer of One Acre Fund in Rwanda, Giza Belinda, reaffirmed the organization's commitment to promoting unity and resilience among Rwandans.
Itubura tubona ubumwe mu matsinda y'abahinzi
In our organization, we find unity and collaboration among farmers who work hard together every day. They train each other on how to improve their farming techniques, save money together, and support one another to achieve development. This is a powerful lesson for all of us, that unity is demonstrated through action, not just words. Renew is a journey we share with all Rwandans. Waneka Fund Rwanda is a community benefit company supporting smallholder farmers in Rwanda to build resilient communities by providing them with the agricultural resources, financing and training they need to grow more food and become prosperous. Enra Gladys, RwandaTV News. Enra Gladys reporting for Radio Rwanda.
Students are requesting that the relevant authorities make history books, especially those about Rwanda's history and the genocide against the Tutsi, more accessible to help bridge the knowledge gap caused by the fact that some teachers and parents do not fully educate them about the country's and the family's past. Many young people say they only learned about their own family histories much later in life, often after taking the initiative to ask their parents. On the other hand, some parents say they hesitate to share historical information with their children when they are still young, fearing the difficult questions they may not be ready to answer. In both primary and secondary schools, all students learn history, including the genocide against the Tutsi. However, students say what is taught in class is too limited compared to what they hear outside school. This has led to a call for more historical books to be made available, preferably written in Kinyarwanda. The Ministry of Education has said that in the near future, it will strengthen the school-based Itorero, also known as civic education program, and that its sessions will be conducted in Kinyarwanda. Our colleague Jean-Paul Maniraho sat down with Joan Muringi, who is in charge of the curriculum at the Rwanda-based Education Board, for an extended interview on the matter.
We are aware that the textbooks, especially for schools, are still few, but we are working hard to really improve the numbers of textbooks in schools, because we think this is very key. This is our identity, and this is it shapes who we are, and it shapes where we want to go. So we think that it is important that we continue really to print more books, such that every student at least has a book. But I would also say that the shortage of books is not only with history books, it is with other books as well, other textbooks as well. So as we are given the budget, we try all means to see that at least each school has at least some of the books. They may not be enough, but at least they will be there. So in Kinyarwanda, I would say that okay, this is formal education, and according to the law of education, it instructs us to say or to teach in English. English is a language of instruction. So being a language of instruction, other subjects are also taught in English. Yeah, so it is obvious that, of course, history will also be taught in English as well at all levels, except in pre-primary. But we are aware of the problem of maybe teachers that may have that problem, difficulties in delivering a lesson. So we have prepared what we call the teacher's guidance in teaching Rwandan history. So the teacher's guidance in teaching Rwandan history is that we went to schools and we gathered teachers, especially those that teach history. So the aim was to know what exactly they are not able to teach as they teach. So they gave us a number of topics, and after, of course, we did an analysis to see. So we put up a team of researchers at the university level, local researchers on teaching of history, and Minubumwe, of course, Aegis Trust, and we came up with that guidance. So if, for example, the problem was maybe knowing the pre-colonial maybe issues that were in our history. So we would set a question, and what would be the likely questions that students might raise. So we list them, and then we try to answer them. We back them with research, such that there are a number of research or textbooks that have been written about that topic. So we try to really put the link where those, in case we find that the books were online, so we try to link in the book such that they could just click on the link and get a number of textbooks that they would use as their reference. So if it is just a matter of maybe answering a student, what would you say that is maybe politically correct and that may not cause confusion and damage to the public. So we tried to put up some write-ups such that it would guide the teachers not to fall into problems, but to have more confidence to deliver the lesson while they are teaching. History is on the timetable of the school, but of course it also, there is the pedagogy part of it. We can't say that history in nursery, for instance, in pre-primary. No, it will be integrated in another subject. If we get to maybe to lower primary, or the whole primary section, it is infused in what we call the social studies. Yeah, the social studies, there is a section on history and civic education. That's where you find, that's where we begin to develop it. Yeah, so when it comes to lower secondary, it is history and citizenship. It has to be on the timetable. When it goes to combinations, just like I said, we have the one, of course, we know that all combinations don't lead in history. History is in the arts section, arts and humanities section. But we are aware that every kid has to learn history. So there is much as those that are taking the history combination will have their own part of learning history, but those in the sciences as well will learn that in what we call communication skills. There is a summary part in the book that entails the history of Rwanda in a summarized form, such that we make sure that every student that is out of school there at least has learned their history.
Welcome back to other stories making headlines on the international scene. Heading over to Sudan, Amnesty International has reported that Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces have used sexual slavery and gang rape of women and girls as part of their war strategy. Since the 15th of April 2023, the RSF has been fighting the army, contributing to one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, according to the UN. France 24 with the details.
Tens of thousands of lives. Over 11 million people have fled their homes. Some 8.6 million are internally displaced. And after 2 years of civil war, Sudan faces the world's worst humanitarian crisis. In war-ravaged streets, people are desperate for shelter, food, water and medical supplies. But for women, there is another risk: widespread sexual violence. This week, Amnesty International released a report that documents rape or gang rape by RSF soldiers towards 36 women and girls, some as young as 15 years old.
4 RSF soldiers came to my house. One of the men grabbed me and said he wanted to rape me. I tried to resist, but he hit me with his gun and said, "I'm going to rape your small daughter if you resist." 2 of them tied my hands together and they removed my clothes. 3 of them raped me while my daughter was watching.
Since the conflict began in April 2023 between the Sudanese Armed Forces and Rapid Support Forces, fighting has spread from the capital Khartoum to the Darfur region, North and South Kordofan and more. While both sides have committed serious violations of international law, according to Amnesty International, sexual violence committed by the RSF amounts to war crimes and possible crimes against humanity. The report says women and girls were raped in their homes or taken to RSF residences. Some were medical workers who were also forced to treat injured soldiers. Amnesty International is calling for a global response to provide appropriate care and justice for survivors.
Andrew Tate pointed a gun in a woman's face and said, "You're going to do as I say or there'll be hell to pay," according to one of 4 UK women suing the influencer and self-proclaimed misogynist. The allegation is described in court documents, which also contain detailed accounts of rape, assault and coercive control. Tate has denied the claims in a written defense submitted to the UK's High Court, calling them a pack of lies and gross fabrications. BBC News with more.
Andrew Tate in the black hoodie, accused in Romania of rape and trafficking, which he denies. But here in the UK, 4 women are suing him at the High Court, claiming he raped or assaulted them. Sienna, not her real name, has told the BBC why they've taken out a civil case.
We want the public to know how much of an evil man he really is. A good result would be justice for our side and to be believed, I think, to just be believed for everything we've said.
Documents filed at the High Court have been seen by the BBC. They set out the women's allegations from 2013 to 2015. Prosecutors here decided not to charge him. The documents claim he threatened one with a gun. On one occasion, putting a gun in her face, it says, and then pointing it at her while saying things like, "I'm a boss, I'm a... gee, you're going to do as I say or there'll be hell to pay." Another woman claims the defendant raped her. She was crying. He had his hand around her neck. As she tried to tell him that she did not want him to do what he was doing, he would strangle her more forcefully. Sienna claims during sex, the defendant strangled her to the point where she lost consciousness. She was not able to defend herself whilst being strangled. Andrew Tate, in his 67-page defence submission, claims the women can't sue him because too much time has passed and texts and emails will have been lost. He also denies all the claims, calling them gross fabrications, a pack of lies and untrue. He claims all the sexual activity was consensual and he wasn't violent or controlling towards them. Andrew Tate also denies the claim he put a gun in one defendant's face. Sienna also claims she saw a gun, but didn't know if it was real. He says there may have been a toy gun in the house.
There was a gun on his sofa. I didn't really mention it to him or anything, but I distinctly remember it being there and kind of being a bit freaked out by it because it's not really something you see in the UK.
On the other claims made by Sienna, his defence submission says they had consensual sex. The defendant did not pin her down or do anything violent. He did not strangle her or simulate strangulation. Andrew Tate has now been allowed by Romanian authorities to travel to other countries, but Sienna wants him extradited.
It's just horrible to see. It just makes you, makes you feel like maybe men feel like they can get away with anything. I think the UK should be pushing a lot harder. I think they've had an opportunity to do that and they haven't.
Andrew Tate facing allegations in the UK, US and Romania. Lucy Manning, BBC News.
And that BBC story marks the end of our bulletin. Before we close off, let's have a recap of our headlines. Some survivors who escaped from Nyanza in Kicukiro district, Kigali city, revealed what they describe as Belgium's direct role in the genocide against the Tutsi. On Thursday afternoon in Rulindo, a farewell ceremony was held for the late Alain Bernard Mukurarinda, the former deputy spokesperson of the government who passed away on the 4th of April 2025. On the international scale, Amnesty International has reported that Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces have used sexual slavery and gang rape of women and girls as part of their war strategy.
The world's worst.
And on behalf of the news production team as well as the technical team, thank you for sticking with us on RTV News. I who brought you the news is Martina Abera. Let us continue to remember, unite and renew. Stay safe and have a good night.